Welcome to the Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this meeting of the Licensing Committee. Um, First item on the agenda is apologies. So, has anyone got any apologies first?
I've not received any, Chair.
Adrian.
Councillor Jonathan Wilkinson.
Yeah, thank you. Noted. And I can't see any other hands, so I'm not sure there are any other apologies at this moment. So we'll move on then to the minutes of the last meeting. I sent my apologies. So for someone that was at the last meeting, Councillor Deb, I know you chaired the meeting in my absence, so are you happy that they're a true and accurate reflection?
Yeah, sorry, Chair, I can't find my hand. Yeah, I'm happy, and I think Councillor Hugh was the other one.
Thank you, Councillor Hugh. So all those that were present, are we all agreed that happy? Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
That's great. Thank you, members. So item 3 on the agenda is declarations of interest. I will give everybody a second if they have a declaration. Can't see anyone. No, thank you. So the main item of business is to review the Licensing Act 2003 policy. So shall I hand over to you, Natalie, to explain the changes to us, please?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Apologies to bring the committee back again so soon, but following our meeting back in November, where essentially this policy was approved to go out to statutory consultation, so that has gone out for its 6-week consultation period, and during this time we did have one representation that was made, and that was from Alcohol Change UK. Now, these are a leading, well-respected UK alcohol charity, which were formed from the merger of Alcohol Concern and Alcohol Research UK, both of which have been in existence since the early 80s. Their representation raised some valid points with regard to online sales, which has seen a really rapid growth. And whilst we did have some suggested conditions within our pool of model conditions, the suggestions made by this respected charity were valid considerations for inclusion. So I therefore liaised with police colleagues and our 4 counties colleagues, who all agreed that the pool of conditions that we circulate with as an appendix to our licensing policy get updated to reflect these changes. As per the minutes to the committee meeting on the 6th of November, it states, following public consultation, the licensing committee will consider any relevant comments at a future meeting. So here we are to consider just this one minor amendment. I think also in that meeting, there were some minor amendments to the agencies, with Environment Agency updated to NRW. I can confirm that that's all been done. So this just needs committee approval in readiness to go before full council on Monday. Thank you. Any questions?
Thanks, Natalie. Does anyone have any questions?
Can I just ask one? Sorry, I can't find how to put my hand up there.
That's okay. Yeah, no, fine.
I'm on my mobile. Yeah, I wanted to ask a bit more about that, really. On obviously the main concern they had was about the ability for people to buy online and the lack of sort of age verification checks when deliveries are made. So what's going to be done to try and tighten that up then? Because I couldn't, maybe you can explain a bit more.
So essentially, there's a little bit of a loophole in licensing legislation where it's deemed that the person that's making the contract, it almost absolves liability from the delivery driver.
Yeah.
So what we've tried to do is in our suggested pool of conditions. So when an applicant applies to the licensing authority, we will try and encourage from this suggested pool of conditions that they take on some of these suggested conditions. They don't have to, but some of these suggested conditions would be for them to have a contract with their delivery drivers to ensure that the drivers are carrying out checks. So as a responsible retailer, even though the legislation doesn't require them to to get them to ask for age verification. As the retailer, the applicant is showing some due diligence by implementing this.
But it's
So
not compulsory for them to do that, though, is it?
it's not, but by not doing it, the applicant, as the retailer, so as the person who holds the license, they are liable. So should there be an instant where, you know, you get your Asda delivery and your 15-year-old lad picks it up from the door instead of your you know, your 30-year-old mum who should have, you know, who's made the order, there is a requirement that will be for them to check the age, but if they didn't check the age and they did hand it over to the child, it would be back to Asda and not the delivery company who would be liable.
Okay. I think from my perspective, I mean, it's issues like that where, you know, if a parent's ordering, I don't know, a bottle of Smirnoff or something off the internet or off Asda, and it comes and the kids are there. I mean, that's a bit different to a 15-year-old managing to open an Amazon account and ordering vodka or something similar on there. So that's what I want to find out really, is whether there's secure or strong enough security checks or for age verification checks on people using or being able to order stuff online.
There is to an extent, yes, because some will only allow you to register cards where, and they will have access to the bank registration details. And a lot of these accounts, you have to be 18 to be able to open such an account.
Yeah, okay.
So that's why, you know, we encourage, obviously there's the challenge 25, because obviously, you know, I think we all know you can look at a 16-year-old and might think they're 20, but there isn't many 25-year-olds that you would look at that would think aren't 18. So that's why we encourage, you know, and Powys promotes the challenge 25 policy rather than the challenge 21 or over 18. Based on that, that's what we encourage any new application that's made to the authority, is that they adopt the challenge 25 policy.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Natalie.
No problems.
Thanks both. Councillor Adrian, do you have a question?
Yeah, just observation really, because I did read what was being proposed, but age verification, so that's great. So they would then not hand it over. Is that true? Or
Well, that's the idea. If they can't,
yeah, well,
yes, if they can't, it's the same as in a physical shop, you know, in a shop. If they
that's
ask for
great
ID
then.
and they can't produce it, then they shouldn't, you know, it's an offence for them to complete that sale, essentially.
I think it might cause a bit of not a row, but it take a bit of settling in, because I can imagine you just mentioned, you know, as the delivery, whatever, and not realizing that the parent has to be at home because they've got used to it just being dropped off. But they'll work it out.
Yeah, to be fair, it is any with that, any online retailer who Asda included, you know, my 11-year-old daughter went to the door, you know, during COVID and beyond, and has gone to the door, and they're like, yeah, we can't leave that here with you, because they know that they have alcohol in that delivery.
Oh, I didn't realize that happened. Sorry, because
Yeah.
we just don't
Yeah,
do
it
it.
does.
Right, great, thank you.
Thanks, Adrian. Councillor Deb.
Sorry, you probably know what I'm going to interject about there, but in my former life, I did work for a national courier, and it was the policy then, and still is now, that if there's anything that the company will ask for age identification and photographic evidence that that person is of age, and it usually contains alcohol or other things that can be bought online.
Yeah, any age restricted product,
Yeah.
you know, it would be, they'd have a failed due diligence, essentially, the retailer, if they didn't have some kind of contract with their courier, wouldn't they, around age verification, essentially.
Yeah.
So it's almost bypassing the legislation, and it's covering their due diligence, because ultimately the responsibility lies with the retailer.
Thanks, Deb. Yeah, and I think young people are completely au fait with showing out their ID. I think us as a generation, we're not asked for ID, but I've got a 19-year-old and it sits in the back of her phone case because she knows that her ID is always, and they don't ask. She's got it out in the supermarket, you know, and she's there ready with her ID. So I think the younger generation are much more in tune with and accepting of it. Perhaps it's just us of a certain
Yeah,
age
I
that
agree with that. It's just there is this you're hidden behind a screen, aren't you? And you know, nicking mum and dad's ID to be able to, or bank card to be able to make the purchase. You know, that's the problem. But then, you know, by putting that emphasis on the delivery driver as well, it is
Yeah.
that extra step, isn't it? So that have they pinched mum and dad's card to make an order? It's an extra step that the delivery driver, you know, should be making before they hand over that.
No, that's great. I think it can only help, can't it? It can only be of
Yeah.
assistance. So, we've obviously seen the paperwork that was in our pack. Natalie's explained it to us. Can I have a proposer and a seconder? Councillor Hugh is proposing.
Yeah, I'm willing to propose. Be accepted.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Deb, thank you ever so much. If we could just have a show of hands if we're all in favour.
My hand's up.
Thank you,
Can't
Councillor.
find
I was going to
it.
say, and we can't see you, but that's fine. Thank you. So that
Yeah.
is unanimous with members present. So Natalie that's concluded, and then you'll be taking the paper to full council, I believe, on the 26th. Is
Monday,
it?
yep.
Next week.
Yep.
Yeah. That's
So
great.
we'll see you all then.
Brilliant. Thank you all
Thank
very
you
much.
all. Thank you ever so much for your time.
Thanks
Thank
all.
you.
Bye.
Carry on.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks. Bye now.